I wanna take you on a ride. We're gonna burn through the night. Why you're so salty? I'll still take a bite.
Okay, we can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show.
Sit in a road trip. I look too good to be alone.
Woo! How y'all doing tonight? Yeah, all right. Before we get started, a little bit. Are there any albinos here tonight? No, close. Okay. So had to make sure. Okay. Also, want to know real quick. Check. Any of you people here remember the 1993 hit movie A Bronx Tale? Yeah, great movie, right? Great movie. Well, in that movie, right, the gangster with the heart, Sonny, tells C, the young up-and-coming gangster, that in your lifetime you're going to get 3 great ones. Remember that story? Remember when he tells that story? Okay, well, I'm going to share a story with you guys now about how an albino helped me realize that I had met the second great love of my life, okay? The year was 2008. I lived in Bakersfield at the time. Far away from here, I know this, right? And about 24 months prior to that, I had been dumped by the first great love of my life. And I had spent the last several months dating a new young lady. Her name was Christine. And I really, really liked her. And I was like in the back of my mind thinking, but I didn't want to get my hopes up, you know? Thinking, I think she's number 2. I really think she's number 2. And then one day Christine says, hey, babe, we should go to, you want to go see the new Batman movie? The Dark Knight, right? The Christopher Nolan, the second installment of the trilogy. I was like, God, Christine, that's a great idea. And I was like, God, that's another reason right there. Like, she always has great ideas. She's like, well, let's go to LA and let's watch it at the IMAX because you really love the IMAX. I was like, God, Christine, that's a great idea. Oh my God. And I was like, she might be the one. She might be number 2, right? So we drive to LA one day and we get there early because I'm driving. And I like getting places early because I like a good parking spot. It's a big deal to me, parking spot. And we get there, we're super early, and I'm like, the movie don't start for another 20, 30 minutes. Like, it was like, I think it was like 45 minutes before the movie started. I was like, what are we going to do? And she was like, why don't we smoke a joint? And I'm like, that's a great idea. Let's smoke a joint. Christina's just killing it with all the great ideas, right? And I said, let's smoke a joint, but let's not get too high. You know, I don't want to get too high because I don't like being high in crowds, right? And she's like, all right. So we lit the joint, we're smoking it, we're talking, we're listening to K-Rock. That's one of the benefits of being in LA. You get to listen to a great radio station. And we're smoking it, and I realized, I'm like, I think we're too fucking high. She's like, you think? And I'm like, I don't know, I think so. I'm like, well, let's go. So we put the joint out, and we walk into the theater, and like, this is 2008, right? So this is before Fandango, right? Like, Fandango's great now, because you could buy the ticket, and you wait like 5 minutes before you walk in, you find your seat, boom, you're good, right? Well, this is way before that, and you had to like stand in line, be a long line, wait, and it was the premiere. It was the weekend that the movie was opening, so it was this big, long line. And we're standing there. My mouth just starts getting super dry because we got too fucking high, you know? Christine notices this about me. It's another thing I love about her, right? She notices when I'm not quite myself, you know? And she's like, Jesse, do you want me to go to the snack bar and get us some snacks and something to drink? And then when they let us in, just grab us a seat and I'll find you. And I was like, that's another great fucking idea, Christine. You should do that. And I'll stay here. So she takes off, right? I'm standing there. And I don't know about you guys, but when I get high, I love to people watch. You know? I love watching people. And we're in LA, and that's a great place to people watch. Because you're in LA, you get mods, skaters, cholos, you know, everything is in LA. And I'm sitting there, now people watching, I'm checking out the line's like all the way to that wall. We're about in the middle of it. And I look, and probably like from me to this gentleman that looks like Santa Claus, about this far away. I'm like, I look and I was like, is that a fucking albino? Because you're never ready to see an albino. You know what I'm saying? It's like a white guy with dreads. You're always like, what the fuck? And I was still sitting there like, is that a fucking albino? When like the cleaning crew came out, you know, because they cleaned the theater in between. And when the cleaning crew came out, like one of the kids from the cleaning crew, he did the same thing I did. Like he walked by and he was like, like I could tell that he was just as confused as I was. And then me and the kid kind of locked eyes for a second. Like we locked eyes, we looked, and we both looked back, we looked, and we kind of like agreed, yeah, that's a fucking albino. And I was like, how about that? That's fucking crazy, an albino. I should really stop calling her albino. You know, I believe the political correct term is punk, person of no color. Yeah, that's the politically correct term. So I'm sitting there and I'm admiring the punk. And I'm like, what a trip. I've seen them in movies, you know, on TV shows. I've never seen an albino in real life. And I'm like, what a trip. And then I was like, what's up with those fucking shoes? She was wearing like tie-dye shoes. Like she had like Chuck Taylors, but they were tie-dyed. It's like, we're gonna watch The Dark Knight. You should be dressed all goth, you know? And so like I started looking up and I noticed she had on like a tie-dye t-shirt. And I'm like, what the fuck? We're not at a Grateful Dead show. It was almost like she was overcompensating for her lack of color with her wardrobe, you know? And I was sitting there and I was like, God, I think I hate this person. Not because she's an albino or because she lacks color, because she has too much color. Like, I don't like the way she's dressed. I don't like her shoes. I don't like her shirt. She had a Louis Vuitton purse. She's fucking pretentious. I was like, oh, I hate this girl. And just as I was thinking, like, how much I hated her, she just walked away. Like, she got summoned to some secret albino meeting. And I was like, Jesse, you're way too fucking high right now. Like, you ever get too high and try to talk yourself down? Right? So I had to, like, start talking to myself down. I was like, Jesse, you don't even know this girl. Her life's probably hard enough, you know? She's an albino in LA. LA's hard for an albino, you know? So they finally let us all in, right? And Christine's still not back. And I'm like, where the fuck is Christine, right? And so I get our seats, right? The previews start, no Christine, right? The previews end and it's getting ready to start. And the albino walks in front of me to a seat. But I noticed that the albino is like, she's not right. Like her face is flush red. She almost looks like she had been crying. I was like, what the fuck happened to the albino? Right? And then just then, as I was like thinking about the poor albino, Christine sits down next to her. Like, she hands me a soda. She puts the popcorn down. She's like, I'm like, babe, what's wrong? And she's like, I almost had to beat the shit out of some albino bitch right now. And I looked, I was like, she's the one. Anyway, guys, that's my time. My name's Jesse Rivera. I gotta go. Thanks for coming out.
Jesse Rivera. This guy said person of no color. Oh my God. Wait.